Good morning, I am Unique Jones,
And Emily Lewis.
and this is the Standing News. The stories that we will be presenting to you today are
The Emergence of Muckrakers, investigative.
Nellie Bly published 10 Days in the Madhouse. We also have an interview that will be occurring shortly afterwards with Nellie Bly and how she traveled the world in less than 80 days. The first story that we will be viewing with is how Pulitzer leaves yellow journalism behind and begins a new brand of journalism. Yellow journalism was recognized in the mid-1890s. It was used in a circulation war between Joseph Pulitzer, New York World, and William Rudolph Hearst's New York Journal. Pulitzer created awards for achievements in newspapers, magazines, and online journalism, and musical compositions. He also gave Seth Low $2 million to create the first journalism school. It opened on September 8, 1908 in Columbia, MO.
The Emergence of Muckrakers, investigative journalism, flourishes. Some say that their tactics and unethical. Some say that they're in the progressive era from 1880 to the 1920s. The Muckrakers took corporate monopolies and political machines while trying to raise public awareness and anger towards urban poverty, unsafe working conditions, prostitution, and child labor. Muckrakers wrote nonfiction sometimes, but when it took impact, they gained their fame through investigative articles and investigating journalism. They also specified in gossip and well-known prominence.
Nellie Bly, the 30-year-old journalist who wrote about her 10 days in the madhouse, aka Black Whales. The young woman spent an exquisite time researching and trying to get an inside look on a life on how these people took care of these psychogenic women. Her publisher and editor, Pulitzer, asked her to do an unexpected thing that could have cost her her life and her way of thinking. With further information, we will be passing the camera off to our interviewer, Diana. Diana, I'm sorry.
Hello, Ms. Bly.
Hello.
So after reading your book, I have a few questions for you to answer. Shall we start?
Yes.
Why did you agree to do a story about a madhouse?
There were rumors of our hospital staff abusing helpless patients. When my editor found out, he wanted a story and convinced me to go mad.
So the night before going to court, how did you prepare for it?
I practiced making crazy faces in the mirror, and as well as scaring myself with ghost stories so I could lose sleep.
What happened during the court trial? What made the judge really believe you were mad?
I acted distant, nervous, and agitated. It got to the point where I disturbed other women around me. They called for the doctors, and I got taken away for questions.
What type of questions did they ask?
I don't remember the questions, but they treated me as if I were a lost cause.
After being taken into the hospital, what did you see?
Sitting on a bench inside of the asylum, I could see women that clearly had been abused. There were women with marks on their body from being choked, beaten, and had black eyes, and had hair missing from having it pulled.
Were there any benefits of writing this book?
Yes. After my book, the city had been considering increasing the budget for asylums. My article certainly pushed things along.
On your other book, 72 Days Around the World, how did you manage to travel?
Well, I traveled through steamboats and existing railroads.
Did you meet any new people during your trip?
I actually met the author of the original book, 80 Days Around the World.
How did you keep track of your reports?
I used efficient submarine cable networks and electric telegraph that allowed me to send short progress reports.
Thank you for your time today.
No problem.
The history behind Time magazine all started in 1922 when a pair of friends, Brian Haddon and Henry Robinson Luce, were both admitted to Yale University. Both had top positions in the daily news. The stories had published were mostly based around propaganda and promoting patriotism. Once Haddon and Robinson left, their success didn't end there. The first Time magazine appeared on March 23, 1923.
That is all for your news today. Thank you for watching the Standing News.